Welcome to worship with First Presbyterian Church in Bend. We practice what we call a spacious Christianity, where there's room for everyone, and we mean everyone. No matter where you find yourself on the faith journey, even if you find yourself without faith, you are so very welcome here. We welcome your questions and doubts and see them as gifts that invite us into deeper conversations. We celebrate diversity and believe it's a strength. And we remind you every single week that you are made in the image of God's goodness and that you are so very loved. We do our best to live the spacious and radical love of Jesus so that all might have a chance to flourish in this world. As we try our best to practice a spacious Christianity, we hope here that you can find space to breathe, a faith you can believe in, and a God who believes in you. We're so very glad to worship with you in this way, but if you find yourself in the area on Sunday mornings at 8:30 a.m. or 10 a.m., we'd love to have the chance to greet you in person. Take a deep breath and know that whether you're sitting on the couch, at your desk, in bed, maybe even washing dishes, the presence of God's love is as close to you as your own breath. And it's my prayer today that you might become aware and experience the presence of that love in a new way through our worship. Because when that happens, it changes the way we are present in the world. Welcome.
Blessed be your name in the land that is plentiful, where streams of abundance flow. Blessed be your name. Blessed be your name when I'm found in the desert place, though I walk through the wilderness. Blessed be your name. Every blessing you pour out, I'll turn back to praise. When the darkness closes in, Lord, still I will say, blessed be the name of the Lord. Blessed be your name. Blessed be the name of the Lord. Blessed be your glorious name. Blessed be your name when the sun's shining down on me, when the world's all as it should be. Blessed be your name. Blessed be your name on the road marked with suffering, but there's pain in the offering. Blessed be your name. Every blessing you pour out, I'll turn back to praise. When the darkness closes in, Lord, still I will say, blessed be the name of the Lord. Blessed be your name. Blessed be the name of the Lord. Blessed be your glorious name. You've given
Jesus said, "Blessed are the peacemakers." Here's the prayer, the peace prayer of St. Francis. Lord, make us instruments of your peace. Where there is hatred, let us sow love. Where there is injury, pardon. Where there is doubt, faith. Where there is despair, hope. Where there is darkness, light. Where there is sadness, joy. Lord, make us instruments of your peace. And here is the prayer of St. Francis in reverse. Lord, make us channels of disturbance. Where there is apathy, let us provoke. Where there is blind compliance, let us bring questioning. Where there is silence, may we be your voice for justice and peace. Where there's too much comfort and too little action, grant disruption. Where there are doors closed and hearts locked, grant us the dogged determination to listen and care. Where there is hostility, disturb our fear and judgment of the other, that we might seek to build bridges of understanding. When pain is overlooked and tradition speaks louder than suffering, grant that we may seek to do justice rather than just talk about it. Disturb us, Lord, to be with as well as for the alienated, to love the unlovable as well as the lovely. In a world that lives like a clenched fist, may we disturb the status quo, showing the world that love is stronger than hate. Lord, make us channels of disturbance and instruments of your peace. Amen. Madeleine L'Engle wrote, "Everything we are learning from astrophysics makes clear what people of faith have always known, that us versus them is a violation of creation. Creation exists only in interdependence and unity. We are already one. We imagine we're not, and we have to recover our original unity." She said, "Tribalism must be transformed into community." Tribalism transformed into community. That holy task feels urgent, almost as if our very survival depends on it. Our theme for the season of Lent leading to Easter is everyday peacemakers. Jesus said, "Blessed are the peacemakers, for they shall be called children of God." In a world divided by difference, discourse, disdain for the other, what kind of peacemaker will you be? Here's how Jesus describes everyday peacemaking in his famous sermon called the Sermon on the Mount. He said, "You're familiar with the old written law, love your friends, and its unwritten companion, hate your enemy. I'm challenging that. I'm telling you to love your enemies. Let them bring out the best in you, not the worst. When someone gives you a hard time, respond with the supple moves of prayer, for then you are working out of your true selves, your God-created selves. This is what God does. God gives God's best, the sun to warm, the rain to nourish, to everyone, regardless, the good and bad, the nice and nasty. I mean, if all you do is love the lovable, do you expect a bonus? Anybody can do that. If you simply say hello to those who greet you, do you expect a medal? Any run-of-the-mill sinner does that. In a word, what I'm saying is grow up. You're children of God. Now live like it. Live out your God-created identity. Live generously and graciously toward others, the way God lives toward you. Love your enemies. Let them bring out the best in you, not the worst. And that's our spiritual work in these divisive times for 2024. The very worst of our humanity and an ugliness of spirit is on full display right now. Our challenge in the way that we engage the conflicts and divisions is not to be a reflection of the same spirit of ugliness we are protesting. Our spiritual challenge is to shine light into the darkness and not add to the darkness in how we engage. Our spiritual challenge as everyday peacemakers is to not allow our enemy to become our inner me. And let me repeat that. We must prevent our enemy from becoming our inner me. In other words, we don't need to allow what other people do to determine what we do and who we choose to be. I mean, the real test of our faith is not how much we love Jesus, but whether we are willing to love Judas. The real test of our faith is learning to love those we find most difficult to love, when it's much easier to hate and judge and condemn. Learning to love those we find hardest to love just might be the closest we can get to a Jesus-shaped love. I mean, picture Jesus. Picture Jesus tenderly washing the feet of Judas, knowing he would betray him. And then Jesus said, "A new commandment I give you. Love one another as I have loved you." Now, the love Jesus is talking about isn't a soft and fuzzy and sentimental love. The word Jesus used, translated as love, is agape. I mean, agape love is fierce. Agape love is best defined as a dogged determination to care for the other, regardless of whether you like them or agree with them. Agape love is a dogged determination to see the image of God in the other, to see the humanity and dignity in the other, even when it's hidden or difficult to see. I mean, I was asked to give a talk as part of a leadership program on the topic of civility. And I suggested civility is too low of a bar. I mean, there's been a shift that's taken place in our society where we no longer have contempt for someone's ideas that we disagree with. We now have contempt for the person holding those ideas. When we disagree, there is now a tendency, even an accepted practice, to dehumanize and demonize those with whom we disagree. So just learning to be civil, to tolerate, to be nice to one another isn't enough. Our goal should be to rehumanize one another, to recognize our shared humanity, to see the image of God in the other. I mean, Jesus didn't say, tolerate, be nice to your enemies. Jesus said, love, agape love your enemies. And agape love is a determination to bless someone when what you really want to do is punch them in the nose. It is not our differences that divide us. It is how we choose to engage those differences that divide us. I don't think the goal is necessarily to disagree less. I think the goal is to learn how to disagree without demonizing the other or losing sight of our own humanity and goodness. Conflict is inevitable. Combat is always optional. We can learn a different way. We can learn a different way of engaging with one another in our differences that brings out the best in us and not the worst. I mean, the only way that tribalism has any chance to be transformed into community is to engage those who are different, those with whom we disagree, dislike, maybe even disdain, and try to build bridges where there's hostility. I mean, it's easy to hate, judge, and condemn from a distance. Hate, fear, judgment can't survive proximity. I mean, do we dare get close enough? Close enough to those we find hardest to love with a dogged determination to listen and care? I love the story of Zacchaeus, the tax collector, in Luke 19. Now, Zacchaeus is the enemy of enemies. He's a wealthy guy who has become wealthy by selling out the Jews, who are mostly peasants, collecting taxes from them to pay for the Roman army that is occupying their land. And Jesus is passing through town. And Zacchaeus was curious, but apparently he was short, so he had to climb a sycamore tree to see Jesus. And the Bible says when Jesus reached the spot, he looked up and he said, "Zacchaeus, come on down. I want to stay at your house today." So Zacchaeus came down and welcomed Jesus gladly. And did you notice? Jesus seeks an invitation to his house. He doesn't say to Zacchaeus, "Hey, come on over here where my friends are and where we're hanging out." Jesus says to Zacchaeus, "I actually want to come to where you hang out. I want to go to your house. I want to break bread with you so that I can learn about your life and your story." What would it look like to seek an invitation to be in relationship with those with whom we disagree, maybe dislike, perhaps even disdain? When we believe that we can't even be in relationship with those with whom we disagree, where do we go from there? Probably the most important people to try and love are those who don't love us. And agape love, a Jesus-shaped love, is intentional about engaging the other, intentional about trying to break down the walls that divide us, intentional about being willing to step out of our comfort zones and seeking proximity, to listen to the stories of those not like us, intentional about seeking courageous conversations. I mean, Jesus said, if all you do is love the lovable, do you expect a bonus? Anybody can do that. And Jesus also said, when someone gives you a hard time, pray for them. I want to suggest as a spiritual practice during the season of Lent that you commit to praying every day for the one that you find the hardest to love. I mean, praying for our enemy doesn't necessarily change our enemy. It can change us. It can soften our hard edges. It can invite humility, reminding us that, we are all someone else's enemy. I mean, pray for difficult people, because I hate to tell you that you yourself are a difficult person to someone else. I confess there's a person I find really, really difficult to love. And I really dislike who I am in response to this person's behavior. I confess, this person brings out the worst in me. My enemy becomes my inner me. So I started to pray for this person every morning. I light a candle. I spend time holding this person in the light of Christ's love. I pray for this person's highest good. Now, I have no idea if my prayers are having any impact at all on the person I'm praying for. I'll leave that to God. What I do know is this spiritual practice has changed me. I've noticed that the hardness of my heart has softened, that my judgment has turned to empathy. I see this person as deeply, deeply wounded. I can see that what I perceive as very hateful behavior and rhetoric is driven by so much fear and a deep woundedness. So this practice of prayer for my enemy has transformed me from a posture of judgment and even hate to one of love. Now, I still hold many of the ideas of this person with contempt. I no longer hold the person with contempt. Jesus said, let your enemies bring out the best and not the worst in you. The real test of our faith is not whether we love Jesus, but whether we're willing to love like Jesus. So my challenge for you during this season of Lent is to choose someone you disagree with, someone perhaps you're in conflict with, someone who brings out the worst and the ugliness, the ugliest in you. And dare to get close enough to listen and care, to hear their story, and find at least one way to bless them and pray for them. And my guess is that you will be the one who is blessed. It may not change the world, but it will change you. You know, in a world that lives like a clenched fist, an everyday peacemaker moves toward those we find the hardest to love with an open hand. Eyes willing to see the image of God in them, and an agape-shaped heart, ready to show the world love is stronger than hate. May it be so.
When I look into the face of my enemy, I see my brother, I see my brother. When I look into the face of my enemy, I see my brother, I see my brother. Look into the face of my enemy, I see my brother, I see my brother. When I look into the face of my enemy, I see my brother, I see my brother. Forgiveness is the garment of our power to make the peace we long to know. Open up our eyes
our shuttered hearts. Greet the dawn of life with charity and love. When I look into the face of my enemy, I see my brother. I see my brother. When I look into the face of my enemy, I see my brother. I see my brother. When I look into the face of my enemy, I see my brother. I see my I see my sister, I see my father, see my mother. Look into the face of my enemy, I see my brother, I see my brother.
In a world that lives like a clenched fist, an everyday peacemaker moves toward those we find the hardest to love, with an open hand, with eyes that are willing to see the image of God in the other, an agape-shaped heart, ready to show the world that love is stronger than hate. Friends, go in the peace and the love of Christ as everyday peacemakers. And may the agape love that you bring into the world bring peace to others. May it be so. Friends, we sincerely hope you found this broadcast and worship meaningful. Please help us make it possible to reach others with the important message of a spacious Christianity. First Presbyterian seeks to serve Jesus by serving the needs of others, showing up in our community and the world when and where love and compassion are needed the most. Your generosity helps us to be generous in love and offer hope at a time when hope is in short supply for so many. Financial gifts, large and small, make a huge difference in helping us continue these broadcasts and helping us continue to serve the needs of others in our community and the world. You can give online at bendfp.org. You can use the QR code on your screen or mail a check to the church. We hope to see you again, and please reach out if we can support you in any way. Until the next time, may God bless you and may you be a blessing to others.